There, now there's a number. I'm at Turtletown Pond, Concord, New Hampshire, talking to Matt Carpenter, fisheries biologist. We're kind of winding up our conversation about river herring, and for some reason, the sun, between the sun and my fingers, I keep cutting it off. But Matt, half decent river herring, and we're talking about restoring or getting the dams fixed so the fish can get up and down.
Yeah, so a lot of relicensing happened, or a lot of dams were licensed in the 80s,
Yep.
and it can be a 40, 50-year license. So we're just coming up on a time where we are going to be able to make improvements at a lot of these dams for fish that really have been waiting. You know, a lot of the infrastructure was built in the 80s based on ideas, you know, and priorities back then. A lot of work around salmon, where now the idea is more to, you know, build passage for every fish that wants to move upstream and downstream. And
So a whole ecological approach.
Yeah, and so that's kind of what we're in the middle of right now, and a lot of the stocking we do with alewives or river herring is to maintain the population as high as we can while we're going through this process. The relicensing process involves studies, try to figure out where the problems are, a lot of engineering and design, and then there's the construction phase and then a monitoring phase.
Right.
It's a long-term process, but so what happens typically when we're stocking fish, it sort of depends on the year, how many fish we're able to access and move during a year, and that kind of will affect the size of the run. And this year we had a pretty good run. We were scrambling a little bit to try to stock a lot of the usual sites that we get to.
Yeah. How many fish you put in Winnisquam this year?
We did the full a little over 24,000.
24,000 in
Yep.
Winnisquam.
And that's been a big driver of the
Yep.
population.
Very
We've-
successful.
We've had some success over in Botanical Pond, in the National River watershed,
Okay.
where we've actually found that fish are able to navigate the two dams. There's a ladder and a lip. And
Okay.
they can actually get back there on their own.
All right.
That's the first documented return based on this restoration effort, where the fish actually get
Nice,
back to the
nice.
habitat we stocked.
So
So we focus a little bit more over there, and on Winnisquam, and then one of the reasons so we have a whole list of sites that in a really good year we can get to,
yeah,
and this was a good site, actually.
Turtletown.
Turtletown Pond, it grew really big fish, which was great for some of the studies they were doing. They're doing telemetry studies.
Okay.
They needed larger
Put
juveniles
the
to study
gear in.
through
Yep.
the dam. And
How big were they when they left here? Were they like 4 inches?
yeah,
5?
4.5, 5.
4.5? Yep.
Where out of say Winnisquam, they're more typically 3.5.
Okay.
So they're quite a bit bigger here. It's
So-
a productive pond,
Yep.
and so one of the issues we saw last year with the low flow is it took a really long time for them to get out, for enough spill to go over the dam for them to
So you said it was
actually
December before they left
Yeah,
Turtletown Pond.
and we don't know. That may not be good
Right.
in the long run. That may not be when they want to go out.
Right, right.
So we don't know what kind of success we get from that kind of
Late
out-migration
run,
year.
yeah.
So this became a little bit lower priority for stocking, which is why we changed it into an eel site, because if alewives are coming down, we'd kill them all in that trap.
Okay, okay.
That's
Yep.
one of the big reasons why we.
Well,
do
but
it.
you didn't put any in, so there won't be any.
Yeah, so we're not worried about
Yeah, yeah.
it.
So long-term efforts, decades of work by New Hampshire Fish and Game to restore river herring and eels, and as you say, all the fish that might migrate up and down the river. Been working on it for decades.
Shad,
I'm glad you're
eels,
still young. You got a
right.
ways to go.
well, I won't be able to finish this. Somebody else is going to take it over.
Yeah,
too.
well-
and it's U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, the National Marine Fisheries Service, and Mass Marine and Mass Fish and Wildlife Service. So it's a big group effort,
Yep.
and we have a good team right now that's working really, to make some pretty good recommendations.
Well, I can tell you back in 1966 or 67, I was a member of the London Fishing Game Club, and we heard that the Amoskeag Dam was up for relicensing, and we were pushing then in the mid 60s. I was 15 or 16, but an active member of the club, and that was kind of one of my goals. And John Harrigan worked for the Union Leader. He did a whole article about it, took pictures of us, the Amoskeag Dam, that we, the London Fishing Game Club, were pushing for a fish ladder at the Amoskeag Dam in 1965.
Wow.
I think it took 30 years, probably 85 before they built one there, but Well, we got the kettle on the back burner at least.
Yeah. No, all of this work is built on decades of people before advocating for fish, and because for the hydropower industry, they are green power, but they do have a major effect on the river.
So yeah, it's not, when you turn that light on,
Yeah, so
you might be killing a 50-year-old eel.
Trying to
That's
mitigate
fact.
for that is a big part of
Yep.
of having a license to make
Right.
money off of a public river. So
Right.
it's a challenge.
Yep.
But I think each generation seems to be getting better at figuring it out.
Good,
And
good.
so, the reason we're able to do this big stocking effort and boost the population is because of the work of previous generations to install the trap and truck facility and the Amoskeag ladder,
Yep, yep,
and the work on the facilities down
yep.
Cole and Lawrence.
John Greenwood and crew.
Yeah. And John Greenwood's work and all of the river restoration work.
Yep,
that they
Phil
did.
Whiteman. I worked with them all.
Yeah, that's the reason why we're able to do this. The Clean Water Act,
Yep.
where it became possible to even want to restore some of these rivers
Right.
because they weren't
Yeah.
polluted anymore. So
Nice.
it takes a long time, and it can be frustrating. When I first started, it seemed like we were just getting nowhere. But if you look back in the big picture, there has been a lot of progress.
Great, great. Good to hear. A lot of progress on restoring river herring, and hopefully we can turn this declining American eel population around, and studies done right here at that trap I'm looking at will help answer that question. This is wildlife biologist Eric Orff, what's wild in New Hampshire.